I'm going to read, because tomorrow's Veterans Day, which we celebrated on Sunday, but I'm going to begin tonight with a piece on our veterans and end with a piece on our veterans. And neither is really riotously funny, but important. And John spent time, we were, I would call it lucky enough. He and I spent time on a USO tour together, a Christmas USO tour. I did two others beside that, and it was life-changing. And their level of sacrifice, I've said this time and again, is it puts us to shame. And if we would sacrifice on 1/10 of the level, 1/50th of the level that our military does for us, we'd be fine. We'd be just fine. This is from Dave. They released the latest voter percentage turnout from the midterms, and all the media outlets are claiming a major victory over a 47% turnout. Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me? We're not talking about Ted Williams hitting over 400 being the best goddamn hitter in the history of baseball, you fucking assholes. We're all running around with our cocks in our hands saying it's a great day for democracy because almost half the eligible voters turned out. How ironic that these elections took place just shy of a week from Remembrance Veterans Day. All these men and women have fought and are still fighting for your rights to get off your lazy asses and vote. And only half of you fuckers have the nerve to get out there and exercise your freedom of choice. You can bet your fucking left nut that there is one hell of a lot of places around the world that would die to have that opportunity. But half of the people here can't be fucking bothered to take the time. So when you shake the hand of that veteran and look him or her in the eye, you better say thank you for all you gave. And if you couldn't take the time out to vote, you better say you're sorry for letting them down. Yeah, that was one of the things when we went into Iraq that I always thought was spectacular, that we were going to bring democracy to Iraq when we didn't even like to vote. That takes some fucking nuts. Son of a bitch. God, that irritates me. And that really, I shouldn't have started with that. Now I'm really just irritated.
This comes from a vet, that's why I'm reading it. Republicans wave the flag and wear little flags on their lapels and talk about how much they support veterans. They do not. The Republican Congress has already voted down 30 bills that would benefit veterans. They're also mostly chicken hawks who are afraid to serve. I go to the VA Medical Center, which has done much better under Obama. Bush even tried to cut combat pay. Unfucking believable. Well, I know that you Republicans out there are going, but I think the last bill that they had was to, they put in, the bill that went to Congress, Obama asked for X amount of money, like 30 billion, 20 billion, 18 billion. I gotta worry about fucking handicap parking and there's a lot of shit going on. So it's 30, but he asked for a chunk of change in order to remedy the problems that the VA hospitals were having, okay? I will grant Republicans, well, you just don't throw money at the problem, but you kind of have to. Sometimes you kind of fucking have to, just in hopes that that will work. And so the Republicans responded to this by then taking it from 18 billion or 20 billion to 2 billion. And they cut it down to that. And so President Obama went, well, you know, and I don't like standing here really defending President Obama, but at certain times he has to be defended. And at certain times you just have to do it. And you people who think that he's really taken away your freedom, you're psychotic, okay? You are still, if you want to buy a Great Dane and have a relationship with the Great Dane, nobody gives a shit, okay? I don't know what freedom it is you think you're fucking losing. It's unbelievable to me. God damn it. I'm allowed to stand here and bark like a dog. Are you shitting me?
And we have another member of the military here tonight, Rob Bingham, who says, dude, seriously, I'm tired of people treating veterans like helpless puppies. I know what he means. We fought wars for your freedom. We do not need your sympathy. Don't think we need a handout or a sympathy job. Say thank you for your service and move the fuck on. Just a thing tonight, I'm on the Daily Show tonight, oddly enough, and I'm here. It's magic. It's magic. And what I'm talking about tonight on the Daily Show is Veterans Day is this Saturday. So it's really, both John and I have been on a USO tour together, and I've done 3 in all, and I just think it's really, after you spend time with the troops, you really gain a respect, because we're separated from, many of us are separated from from folks who serve in the military, and it hasn't helped us in any fashion, and so really, I'm just going to say it, one of the things you can do is whatever, send a few bucks to whatever veterans group that you think can help them, because they really are fucked. And to give you a sense of just how fucked up it is the fact that we actually have to have like 400 veterans groups that we have to send money to fill in all the gaps that we're not doing as a country is really appalling. One of the things that one of the things too that you learn being with the troops, especially John and I, the idea of the two of us being in uniform and fighting for you is just one of the saddest. It's why we have a military, is because of people like John and me, is what I'm saying. Some of those pictures that I look at the two of us just going, holy fuck. It's amazing that the enemy just didn't spot us and just pull us away in the cover of darkness. All they'd have to do is just come up and put their little fingers on our head and squeeze and pop. But this is from Dave, who sent this in. I wanted to read this. As we enter into the Veterans Day, Remembrance Day weekend, the big debate is, when is it too early to put Christmas decorations up? Are you fucking shitting me? Most places won't even recognize November 11th as a statutory holiday, but sure as shit in a handbag, we make sure that we celebrate our fucking asses off for an imaginary fat fucker in a red suit on December 25th. Now, I'm not against Christmas, and I don't want all the religious people out there shitting all over me about the real meaning of Christmas. But if it wasn't for all those men and women that fought for our freedoms that we have today, we wouldn't be celebrating jack shit. So, if you want to put up your decorations, then go right to fuck ahead, because that's your right of choice. And if someone tells you that's wrong, then tell them to kiss your ass. But for fuck's sake, buy a poppy and thank a veteran that you have that choice. And I always think it's important to read stuff that comes from those who have served us. This is from Dave, and this is Roseville, California. Rant, okay, you want me to rant? How is this for a rant? It takes the VA over 4 fucking miserable years to hear a disability appeal of a vet. Say it with me, 4 fucking miserable years. If anyone is going to a congressional midterm candidate forum, ask this question. Sir, madam, what specifically are you going to do to reduce the time a vet has to wait for a disability appeal hearing? And watch their Pinocchio noses grow and grow. That's from Dave, who obviously served and is pissed. And Dave, all I can say, at least we're not having that parade. Because, I'm sure that'll mean that you get that, you'll be hearing from them a year later than, or a year earlier than you would have. This is from Silas. And it's, hey, Lewis, I noticed you were in Keene tonight, and it is the home to an organization for veterans called, wait for it, Dysfunctional Veterans. Now, I've been a part of this veterans group for several years. They have their own radio broadcast thing to talk vet, and they have a DV farm where they rehabilitate veterans and help them adapt back to civilian life after they get out of the service. I own several of their shirts with dysfunctional veteran sayings like, the VA giving veterans a second chance to die for their country since 1930. That was good. Don't go whine on that. That's great. Does not play well with others is another one. This veteran is medicated for your protection. And my personal, which is apparently a registered trademark by them in capital letters, leave me alone! I've been a supporter and aware of their stuff for years, and it brought a lot of vets together on their Facebook page with lots of crude humor, ripping on one another's branches, and having a general respect for one another. However, since Trump got into office, the page has gone far right political, where before it wasn't as political. And with several shares of the right-wing news page, American Military News per day, I finally had to leave the group. First of all, if I wanted to follow and read a right-wing bullshit skewed news page, then I would follow the page. Why are pages linking other pages? Stop it! Secondly, why are you proving to me that the stereotypes of the military are true, especially among older vets? There is a large percentage of vets that support the Republican Party, mainly because they actually give money, new equipment, etc., to the troops on active duty, and usually pump money into the VA and retirement systems, despite them both being broken and needing a complete revamp. For whatever reason, Democrats nearly always scale back defense spending and slow down pay increases for troops and cut back or cancel upgrade programs for aircraft, ships, and other military vehicles, and then blow the money on other things like education, healthcare, and other incentives. You know, those socialist services like roads, storm drains, public beaches, state parks. Now, as an independent voter myself, I see both sides of things, but with the tremendously wet, orange, amazing, believe me, no collusion and everyone is out to get me fucknut, the division this asshat has created is just staggering. I've always hated the two-party system in our politics. Both parties are corrupt as fuck. Obviously, the current administration takes it to a new level. Both lie out their asses. Again, this is a new level, and both have their fair share of big jobs that freak out on each side about one another. But why the fuck do organizations like the Department of Veterans, who mean well for all veterans, have to drag politics into their organization when whatever is happening in the political arena really has no effect on the organization? The only thing that I can think of is the fact that veterans are all about getting shit done right here and right now. It's all about instant gratification in the moment, just like the Republicans and their constituents want. The Democrat Party is all about progress, planning, and the future. Things take too long to transpire, and then everyone gets frustrated. And then we have a political nightmare for an election that ends up somehow resulting in the worst of the worst. Now, I'm the epitome of a dysfunctional veteran myself. I fucking hate people. It raises my anxiety through the roof, and there are a lot of things that don't piss me off. But I have to say, to my fellow dysfunctional veterans, leave me alone with your fucking douchebag political opinions. Get back to your roots and explaining to people what you are all there for. We all have opinions, and opinions are like assholes. We all have them, but talking out your ass just makes it reek in the room. Use your fucking brain and be smarter than those douche canoes running the country, and have some goddamn respect for one another instead of bitching and complaining all the time. Judas Priest, have a good night. Thank you, Silas. Thank you for your service. Any of the vets who are here tonight, thank you. At some point, we have to do what's right. Whether we like it or not, we certainly have to do it in terms of them. Because the economy's going so well, maybe we'll figure it out. We should. I don't give a fuck if you have a road. I do give a shit about them fucking having a place that they can feel comfortable and go somewhere and be safe. And if they need to get medical care, that they get it. Hi, Louis. I'm sure this is just what you wanted, another anthem kneeling rant. However, this one might just be a little different. So, on the eve of Veterans Day, I send this to you to give it a voice. I've decided to use the anthem as a moment of protest as well. I won't be standing anymore at attention when the anthem is played. I will choose to remain seated. Why? Because I love my country. I appreciate those who have served and given their all to the cause of freedom. And I am angry as fucking hell that our government doesn't honor those veterans with the type of health care they need and absolutely deserve. How is it that we have all these people saying Colin Kaepernick can't protest injustice in his community by kneeling for the anthem, and yet they still allow our men and women who served to be homeless, suffer mental health issues, and wait in line to be seen at underfunded VA hospitals? Fuck you, you righteous, hypocritical pieces of shit. I'm supposed to stand at attention and pretend that at that moment all is right with our country? Oh, hell no. You protest when it is going to mean the most. These people get so angry at athletes protesting police brutality during that time, but most of the people who run their fucking mouths about it have never done anything to help a veterans organization. But might I point out that we, the citizens, shouldn't need to. Our shitheads in the government should make sure these problems are addressed. We shouldn't need nonprofit organizations to help soldiers cope with life after losing limbs and suffering injuries in fucking combat. Are you goddamn kidding me? Thank you to organizations out there who do their best to help, but honestly, you shouldn't be needed. All of the assholes on TV or in Congress who want to blast people for protesting during the anthem, including our fucking president, should have their salaries taken away and given to a soldier's health fund. Where the fuck is Cheney or Rumsfeld now? How come they get to sit back on their golden toilets and shit their old ass lives away while the men and women who have fought in their continued war of the last 18 years don't get the help, mental or otherwise, that they deserve? So I won't be standing. I'll choose to take that same protest, the one that makes them so angry because it disrespects the servicemen and women who've sacrificed to give us freedom, and remind them that they are suffering needlessly. So to all of the bullshit government officials and pundits who want to make a big deal about kneeling during the anthem, do something about it. Fix the Veterans Affairs situation so that I can stand proudly again, because it is your fault that I can't do it now. This is 1,776 words. This is a fairly long piece, and we're taking a risk reading it, but I think it will be worth your time. It's one of the more extraordinary pieces that I've received, and it's got a serious edge that I think is really important in these times. I bought a black poplin hat with gold thread spelling Vietnam veteran on the front, and in case you didn't get it the first time, it has Vietnam vet on the back band of the hat. On the front, between the Vietnam and the veteran, there's stitched 3 service ribbons, usually associated with the Vietnam conflict. I bought it from a disabled veterans charity. A nice woman wearing red, white, and blue was selling it from a card table in front of a store. She sold American flags, bumper stickers, et cetera, et cetera. I figured, what the heck, I'll buy a hat and help disabled veterans at the same time. Besides, I'm bald as a melon, and I need sun protection to keep my noggin from baking. When I placed it on my head, strangers would run up to me and welcome me home. Strangers come stampeding out of a crowd to shake my hand and welcome me home, in disregard of the fact that I've been home for way over 45 years.
People that are younger than 45 will welcome me home saying, "Welcome home, soldier," or "Welcome home from a grateful nation." I look around for the grateful nation they're referring to when they invoke the grateful nation bit. It is the ones that creep up behind you and pop out to congratulate you on the accomplishment of your homecoming. Hey, I have a hint for you. It's not a good idea to surprise anyone by jumping him or her unexpectedly from behind. Add the fact that people who may have an exaggerated startle reflex may perceive you as a threat. Come on, think ahead. I find it unsettling to have to deal with strangers welcoming me home 45 years after I was quits with that part of my life. The most important thing on my mind when these things occur are things like, I hope I remember where I parked my car. And fuck, my underwear is riding up right into my crack. I hope I can dig it out without anyone seeing. Did I lock my car? Did I park it in the blue section or was it in the B section? I'm gonna need a men's room soon. Then out of nowhere, "Welcome home, soldier." My heart stops a beat because I never saw that Jasper coming. He's maniacally shaking my hand and grinning at me. I need to show some form of gratitude, some token to give him to remember my gratitude, my humble acceptance of his heartfelt accolade. Wait a minute, am I grateful? No, I don't feel grateful. I feel, how do you put it? Annoyed. Yeah, I feel annoyed. Yeah, I see your big grin and your madly pumping hand. Yeah, I see you expect something from me. You have made me complicit in your wrong-headed effort to correct a perceived wrong and to get gratitude from me. That's it. You are doing this for yourself, and you are willing to frighten me, inconvenience me, accost me, and annoy me to milk a measure of gratitude from me. Well, fuck off, you gratitude-grubbing, immature, and annoying weasel. My daughter doesn't like to go out with me if I wear my Vietnam veteran's hat. She says it attracts only creepy people. She once saw a guy almost knock down a young girl to force his way to me to welcome me home. Once we traveled to the Capitol Mall to attend a rally for immigration reform. We were for it, and a lot of thinking people joined us. There was a much smaller counter-demonstration from the Tea Party. Wacky fringe groups and fellow travelers aimed solely at screaming invective and hateful obscenities at people that didn't agree with their raving, mouth-frothing, and lunatic misconceptions. I wore my hat to show that not all veterans oppose responsible immigration reform. You aren't going to believe this, but one guy broke from the Tea Party ranks and runs directly up to me with his hand out. He runs up with a big grin, shakes my hand, says, "Welcome home, soldier," runs back to the crazy line, pick up a sign that says something like, "Go back to the commie fucking country you came from, traitor." Spelled Trayder. As soon as he picks it up, he starts braying obscenities and giving us the finger. My 9-year-old grandson looks up at me and says, "There's something wrong with that guy." A third grader can see it. The next paragraphs aren't going to please many of you. I know you've seen this in your email. Some bad prayer or pictures of the flag at sunset or a soldier holding a doe-eyed dog. Somewhere in the message is, if you support our troops, send this to 20 friends. If you're a real American, you must not break the chain. Send this to 20 friends. Send it or you don't love the troops. Send it or you are not patriotic. Send it or we will hate you for not loving our troops that we love because we sent this letter to 20 friends when you didn't. Send it. If you're any kind of American, send it now. Maybe you did send it. That whole concept is evil and absolute unalloyed bunk. Does the sender believe pushing a button for the troops shows support? Does the sender even know what support means?
It means something more than pushing a couple of computer buttons in the comfort of your home as a knee-jerk reaction to peer pressure from the jingoistic and deluded. Support means getting off your dead ass and doing something, possibly something hard. Possibly something hard and out of your comfort zone. That is what the troops are doing for you every minute of every day. Support is a verb, an action word, a word that connotes actually helping the troops in some concrete way. Does sending the message do anything at all to make a serviceman's life one bit better? That button click gives not one serviceman a second of shade, no cool breeze, not a sip of water. A million clicks brings no serviceman 1 foot closer to their home or a loved one. It doesn't ease their burden an ounce, and it mitigates their risk not a whit. But that is what you are willing to do to show your support. I have an experiment for you to do. First, find a member of our armed forces serving in any of the violent hellholes we have troops in at this particular moment. One who has a cell phone. I want you to prepare that picture of an American flag with an American bald eagle superimposed over it, and with a cloying and maudlin poem about the crass parts of American life. You know, God, baseball, and motherhood. Then get your list of 10 or 20 people on your friends list that you are going to send this message to. Now dial the serviceman or woman and ask them to hold on the line. Then I want you to send your message of support and good wishes. But do not tell the serviceman or woman what you did. Give it 30 seconds. And then I want you to ask, do you feel better, more supported, safer, more likely to be coming home and safe and sound than you did when I first called? Do you have the guts, the self-importance to do that? I think I know what the answer will be. Listen carefully. This is not support. It's a cruel mockery of support. It is a bouquet full of futile blather compounded with inconsequential activity. This button pushing, if you love the troops, couldn't be less pertinent if it was designed by the pledged enemy nations of this country to bewilder, misdirect, and confound us in utilizing our finite support resources to benefit our servicemen and women. Stop it! Fucking stop it! Stop pushing buttons and do something that actually supports or at least comforts a serviceman or woman. Even if it isn't in your comfort zone, start by going to a veterans hospital and visiting the real troops. Bring a cake, some cookies, a flower, and spend some of your time. Pick up a phone and call a congressman about the banks that are screwing servicemen and women when they are deployed. Call one of our fine representatives when they sponsor a bill that will soften the predatory lending protections currently in place for our troops. Push their button. Demand change. Call them and their staff's names for the troops. Here's something that may support a troop. Buy a fruit basket and give it to a serviceman, or have it on their doorstep and never tell anyone about it, and do that weekly. Get the most recent New York Times top 10 best-selling book and give it to a military-based library. Or here is an idea. Stuff a paper box with phone cards, condoms, cookies, chewing gum, candy, cupcakes, and a CD of the Dixie Chicks. And at your own cost, send it to the morale officer of a unit in Afghanistan. But no Bibles, pens, soap, stationery, or tame hair conditioner. Stop that impulse to send copies of Awake or Watchtower. And for the sake of decency, no chick tracts. Get out of your comfort zone. Not to make you uncomfortable, but to do something nice for the troops that you so earnestly want to support. Go mow a veteran's lawn. Paint a serviceman or woman's house and garage for free. Ladies, show a serviceman your tits or let them honk your tits. Hell, let them lick it. I guess that goes for service women also. And you may be surprised how many may be interested. Yeah, that says I love my troops, but let's get right down to it and reach in your pocket and pull out some money you're so afraid is going to get taxed and spent on someone besides yourself. We all know how the USA loves money, so pull out a $100 bill and give it to a serviceman or woman. Show us how much you support those troops you love so much and so sanctimoniously. If you're not willing really to support a troop, then shut the fuck up. You're not a friend of the troops. Thank you, Indianapolis. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Good night.